Go! Hello! Keep it here. Yeah, now I'm going to talk about some of my life's history. That's going to be fun. I'm going to tell you my first name, not my last name, because if you're watching this and don't know me personally, don't want you to find me on Facebook. Really? Well, maybe. Depends on who you are. Depends on if you will love me or hate me after this. By the way, this is one of the best alcohol pops in the world. I basically don't consider it alcohol anyways. Yeah. Yeah. I was born in August 1994. Given I can give you the last name I was given at that time because I had my last name changed by my parents, which fucked me over because now I can't change it without paying this money to the fucking government. Fuck you, mom and dad, for changing my last name that early on. Because you get like one free change of name. I can neither change my first or my last name without paying the government money, because you get one free change of name in Sweden. Only one. Sorry for that. If you didn't watch my first week at work vlog before this, I just drank a beer and now I've started on my Smirnoff Ice. Didn't want to bore you with maybe 1.5 hour vlog in one sitting, because that might be too much for some people. But yeah, I was born August 1994, the 14th of August 1994. Given the name Love Törnqvist. My dad changed his last name, and that was my dad's last name back in the day. And yeah, they changed my last. He changed his last name when I was like around 1 year, or maybe 2 years old, and they changed my last name as well. That would have been really weird otherwise, because my mom and my dad have different last names. Even though they are married now, but they weren't when I was born. Yeah. I'm just going to check that text. Well, okay, so I've nothing much to talk about for the first couple of years because I can't remember much of the years. Also, I remember one thing. I know one thing basically. I went to daycare. Is probably the right word for it. I don't think preschool is the right word for it, because I don't know how your system works. English-speaking countries with daycare, that everyone understands. Went to daycare at a place that was named Hilton. Yeah, just like the hotel chain. They didn't exist when that place started here in Sweden. My daycare. When my daycare started, the Hilton hotels did not exist in Sweden. But when I went there, like during the last couple of years at least, it did exist. So they got a lot of calls from people wanting to book rooms at the Hilton in Stockholm. And yeah, that's how it worked. But yeah, okay, my parents, I can tell you a little bit about them. I'm not going to give any names away, because then some people might realize who I am. Some people that... I don't want to be doxxed. I've already been it once. Don't want that to happen, but I will probably stop my life's history before then, because... Well, maybe not before then, but around that time when I got doxxed. So yeah, my mom is like a 2.5 wave feminist. She is not completely mad, but she's almost completely mad. Man-hating, almost, not completely. And my dad is see now, how should I explain it? He's a syndicalist. If you know that is, it's a sort of social. It's a type of socialist, and you are. He did call himself at one point. I don't want to say libertarian anarchist or libertarian socialist, because that's more what I would call myself. I'm very libertarian, but I'm a bit on the left side. Bit, not too much anymore, because the left side has gone completely mad. Basically, some sort of a in-between thing between communism and anarchism. Somewhere in between. More towards the communism side, he is. I'm way more towards the anarchism side. I'm really libertarian right now. If you would basically make the political scale not a left to right side, left to right, but not only left to right, but left for me, it will. I don't know if it will be right to you when I do that, and right on the other side. It's also authoritarian and libertarian. He is somewhere like here, a bit down, and way to the left. I'm basically down here, a little bit to the left, way libertarian. But yeah, those are my parents. And yeah, both are left-leaning. Really left-leaning. So yeah. And what was it? Yeah. Oh no, I will need to explain the Swedish school system a little bit. When you're 6 years old, you go to a special grade. It's called 6-year-olds. Then you go. When you're 7, you go to first grade. When you're 8, you go to second grade, etc., etc., up to 9th grade. Then you go to what in Sweden is in Swedish is called gymnasiet, which would, like, if you would directly translate it, which you should never do, it would be the gymnasium. Yeah. Fucking stupid. It sounds fucking stupid. I understand that, but I will call it high school because I think that's what high school is. Let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. When you're 16 years old, I think you go. I don't know if you go to high school then in other countries, but I will call it high school, and you start it when you're around 16 years old in Sweden. It's before you go to university. It's okay. Everything was going well for me from when I went to the 6 years old grade until I started in 4th grade, and nothing really that bad except for really weird fucking school that don't understand how to keep grades separated to make the education work as it should. The start of 4th grade, like the first, third or something like that, went really well. Then people realized that I was not like the other ones. I was not like everyone else. I was weird, I was different. I listened to metal while the other kids listened to like hip hop and such things. You know how kids are around that age, right? Especially boys. People are really mean. People are disgustingly mean. And I got bullied physically, I got beaten up and such things. I have bad back from that, for example. I can take all of my fingers out of their joints. I don't feel it. Taking my fingers out of the joints, that is. Because they beat me up. They kicked my fingers out of the joints so many times that I don't feel when I... Alright, let's see now. We'll have to do it down here. Do this. This thing is out of joint now. Move it a little bit without it hurting. If I move it too much, it hurts as all fucking hell. And then I can put it back in the joint. Almost. Well, you know, by just having the hand outstretched. Yeah. So yeah, I was bullied and beaten up. I was bullied every day. From third into the fourth grade until the end of the sixth grade. I changed school after that, and then I was bullied every day because I was weird, didn't fit in. My teacher said boys will be boys. The head teacher of the class. I think it's called head teacher in English as well. I don't know if you even have that kind of system in any other country. Well, it's the mentor. It's named in Swedish, like the teacher that has the most, not the like has responsibility about for your class that you go in. Not not a class, but you know, you go in like a class with like other people. I'm going to get drunk so fucking quickly today. I haven't eaten enough. But yeah, so where? Oh, they went over there. Well, yeah, and then I changed school to another school, and during like the sad thing was that some of the people from, well, I had a few friends when I went in, well, okay, so I changed school after 6th to 3rd grade. I changed school because that school didn't go any further than that. And the next and I had some friends in the second school I went to. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing there. When I was 9 years old, I got a little brother. I really love him. You know, like any bigger sibling does with the smaller siblings. They really loved him. They want him no harm in the world. So when he was born, I was basically told, deal with everything myself because my parents had to deal with him. With him growing up and everything like that. So when that was before I started to become bullied. And oh yeah, and the school could have seen my dyslexia at least. When I went on through 4th and 6th through the 4th, 5th and 6th grade, because it started to show. Then my dyslexia started to show itself. Me not being able to spell basic words, not being able to spell anything that had two consonants. I think they named that in English as well, after each other. And yeah, other weird spelling errors Like not being able to spell my last name, for fuck's sake. Every kid should be able to spell their entire name. Right? At least think so. At least when you're like 10, 11. When you're wait, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When you're 10, you should, and 11, you should, and 12, you should be able to spell your last name, right? Unless it's really fucking weird. But my name is not that hard to spell. Yeah. So yeah, well, after I've finished that, I will probably have to take a short break because I need to go and take a piss. And this is going to be a long one anyways. So yeah, or maybe not, I can probably hold it in. For a while. So yeah, when I started 7th grade, I changed school again. Because we cut them up in like different parts. Like the first 4 years you go to school, you are in the one certain thing, and then the next 3 years, and then the next 3 years, a certain thing. But yeah, some of the people that were like my friends, kind of ish, during the time, went to that new school as well, and then some of the bullies did. But for like maybe like a few months after that, after it started in the 7th grade, everything was fine. Oh, I wasn't bullied, and then it started again. Not with beating me up, because I got tired of that shit. I started fighting back. When I was like 6 years old, I started 7 years old. I started taekwondo. I stopped going there when I was like 11 or something. Then I went on. Then I trained jiu-jitsu for a few years, and then I started training Bujinkan, which is, well, it's not a martial art. Well, it's actually what. Actually, it's what they would call it a martial. They call it martial art, but they don't call it. It's not a sport. It is for self-defense only. It's fucking amazing what dirty tactics they use. Oh, you're standing somewhere where it's sand. Bend down, pick it up, throw it in your enemy's eyes, and they won't see a thing. Then you can beat them to a pulp, and then you could go get away from there. No problems. It's a mix of different styles of martial arts. It's from Japan, and it's, well, you've probably heard of like ninjutsu and taijutsu and such things. You mix like many different martial art forms into one, and it's been going on for and it's been like, it has 800 years of tradition or something like that. So it is the ninja martial art actually. So I learned to throwing stars and such things. Not important. I really need to take a piss soon. Yeah, so what? Then I started to get bullied. Oh. And like when I was in like 8th grade or something, I joined not the you think of political party, but of union of a syndicalist union, because I thought they were basically like me. What were going to be like me? I called myself an anarchist back in those days. I wouldn't do it now. Well, yeah, I kind of call myself an anarchist right now, but I'm not the traditional type of anarchist. Yeah, anarchy doesn't work, and a revolution wouldn't work. We need liberty. Liberty is the most important thing. Choosing what you want to do and doing things, that's the most important thing in the world. That's how I can justify me using tobacco, for example. If I didn't believe in liberty, I would not be able to use tobacco anymore because of the working conditions of people, paying and other things. But it's my liberty, to use it. If I would have had the space in my room and the time to do it, I would be growing my own tobacco. Fucking love tobacco. Love to smoke cigarettes. Love snus. Love cigars. Fucking amazing. It works wonders for me. When I was in eighth, when I was at the end. Oh, by the way, at the end of the 7th grade, I got my dyslexia diagnosis. My Swedish teacher at the time, I am from Sweden, therefore we do have Swedish classes. In less than a month, way less than a month, I think it was like in 2 weeks' time, he figured out that I had dyslexia. After years of not getting any help with me not being able to spell things, getting test wrongs and everything, he figured out like that. Well, he must have dyslexia. He had us like writing a story about like camels or something. Everyone should be able to do it. It was like half a A4 or something like that of text that you had to write. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it in like I had like 3 lessons a week or something, and I couldn't do it in 2 weeks' time. So it was probably like it was probably in a month from when we started. He figured it out, and he fought, and he put up a fight against like the school board to get me tested for dyslexia. And within like 3 months of me going to 7th grade, I had the dyslexia diagnosis. Everything went well for a time there, with my scores in like tests in school went up from being like down here, they went up to there. In the beginning of 8th grade, was this guy that changed class from one of the parallel classes, my class. We both got bullied, where we became friends with each other. He was my one of my few friends during that time. Fine, love him to bits. He has a channel, by the way. It's named Gmodism's Total Nerdy Channel. That's the full name, but if you search for Gmodism, you will find him. Fucking amazing guy. Love him to bits. Oh yeah, when I went until I went to 8th grade, I had like down hair down to my like the end of my back. True metalhead. I had my naturally blonde hair that I've completely destroyed by coloring with really bad, by dyeing it with really bad stuff until it becomes like this color naturally. Almost, not this dark, but it is really dark now compared to my completely blonde hair back in those days. Yeah, I became. I met a guy that went to my school when I was at summer camp, and he was so fucking cool. And then I realized he went to my school because he had a hoodie with my school's motto on it. Like, oh god, you go to my school, and he was 1 year older than me. He influenced me really much. So then I came home. Right before school started, I cut my hair to have the emo bangs and everything, and yeah, because I found him so cool. He was a drummer. It was like music summer camp, and he was a drummer. And I had like, oh yeah, I started coloring. I started dyeing my hair at the end of 7th grade. Started dyeing it black because I started listening to black metal. I started listening to Dissection. If you have ever heard of them. My dad comes from the same town as those guys, and is also the same town as at least one of the members of like, I don't know what to call them, but like industrial metal band Death Stars. That town is named Strömstad. That's where my dad grew up. I'm going to finish this and then I really need to take a piss, by the way. So we'll basically cut and then I will come back when I have taken a piss. Fucking hell, what the fuck was that? Something did fall down. Oh, it was some cards. It was the MLP collectible card game cards that I have never played with. I got myself, a friend of mine, I think, got me a starter pack, and that was basically it. Yeah, then I bought a few boosters because I wanted to play it, but that's later on. Yeah, I think it was when I went to 7th grade. I started playing Warhammer Fantasy. Local Games Workshop had like beginners courses in Warhammer, and I didn't. I went through 4th to 6th grade. I did know a guy that that collected orcs and goblins and painted them. I thought it was really cool because, hey, it's orcs. Orcs are cool, right? I liked fantasy and sci-fi back then as well. Fantasy more than sci-fi. Now it's the other way around. But yeah, orcs were cool. Really cool. So I got myself a few packs of miniatures, like some orcs, some goblins. Didn't really get into painting them or anything back then, but then I decided I want to learn to play the game, and I'm going to continue that when I come back from the toilet. Hi, back again. Sorry for that short break that I had to make, and it's just like right after that for you guys. That's what happens when you haven't eaten enough during the day and you start drinking because you really need to get shit out of your system and don't want to be sober while talking about some of this shit. So yeah, I was at Warhammer. And now I'm at the Breezer, by the way. Finished off the Smirnoff Ice while I was gone. Right before I went to the toilet, actually. But hey, you don't need to hear that. You're not interested in that shit. Yeah. I went on those courses there because I wanted to learn to play, because I had those like a unit of orcs and a unit of goblins, and I thought that was enough to play. That was really fucking stupid because it's not close to enough. But then I learned about like the animosity rule and everything like that for the orcs and goblins, and I decided to not play them because even then I knew that some things is really hard for me to remember. Things that I'm not that I don't want to do are really hard for me to remember. If like one of my friends will call me and tell me to and ask me to if I could go out and drink with them, and they would buy me everything, because that would be really nice, and I don't have that much money right now. Want to get my first paycheck until next month. Then I will have some money. which is why probably some things about me and reacting to things will come out towards the end of next month, because we get salary at the like 25th or something like that here in Sweden, and I get my first salary from this job that I have right now next month. 25th next month. Fucking sucks. Okay. But so yeah, I didn't want to play them because of the animosity rule. And I became interested in playing Chaos. So, like a few months after I started, after that course where I did actually get a like carrying case for armies. I think I went to that during the break. No, actually, I went to that during the break between 6th and 7th grade. Actually, now I remember correctly. And because my birthday is in August, I asked to get some Worm figures, and I had become interested in Chaos because I knew that was too many rules for things. I wanted to have magic. I knew that in my army, and I want, but firing and such things with arrows, that would be too much for me to keep in my head, at least to begin with. So I started playing Chaos. Love Chaos. Still fucking love them, even though games were fucked them up completely nowadays. Fucked up the entirety of fantasy nowadays. And yeah, I did make some friends when I started playing there. Really good friends that I had for many years, until we basically until like maybe 1 year or 1.5 or 2 years after we basically stopped playing Warhammer. And it wasn't really anything. We didn't like have any falling out with each other, but was, well, I will come to that later. But I had some friends when I actually started in 7th grade and such things, but now we're over towards 8th grade. Yeah, I had started dyeing my hair black by that time, but then I cut my hair to the emo bangs and everything, so I looked really fucking. So I looked like an emo. Don't listen to the music that Swedish emos listen to, really. Don't listen to like post-hardcore, metalcore, deathcore, and such things. They never really were much for that emotional hardcore bullshit, and like basically like Green Day kind of things over here in Sweden. We never were. It was this like girl that listened to black metal that got a crush on me, such things. We did never into a relationship, and then I got then I got my first girlfriend after that. She's a complete whore, by the way. I was in 8th grade with my first girlfriend, and she cheated on me. I didn't get to know that when I talked about myself in third person in front of one of the guys that she slept with. She had already broken up with me, and yeah. Really sad. And then started hanging out at a place where like emos started hanging out, that emos here in Stockholm did hang out at, and started hanging out on, well, first I started hanging out on a website that emos here in Sweden did hang out on back then. It was called emocore.se. Please don't go there anymore, for fuck's sake. It's just hipsters there, and it fucking sucks. Back then, like emos and like metalheads and other things, like a social network for alternative, for people that listen to alternative music back then. And yeah, so I hang out there, and then I got myself another girlfriend. She did listen to like bands like Bring Me the Horizon, and this is like many years ago now. So the lost album at the time was what is his name? The one with Chelsea Smile and those things. Really good album. I really like it. She listened to that kind of music, so I started listening to that kind of music because I loved her. And then it did stick with me, even after she broke up with me. So I started to so I started hanging out where emos hang out and such things, because I really wanted to hear more of the music, because it was another type of metal. It was harder than what I did listen to, because I was listening to like heavy metal, new wave British heavy metal and older heavy metal, way back. Then I started listening to black metal, and then it was melodic black metal, like dissection and sort of things. And this was faster, harder, something completely new to me. And I did play. Around that time, I started playing bass guitar. I really wanted to play. Actually, it was back in 7th grade that I started playing bass guitar. But I really wanted to play something more difficult. I wanted it. So interesting to me. Faster and harder. It sounded really cool from a bass guitar playing. So I really wanted to learn it, to play it. Yeah. So I started hanging out with the emos and everything, so I became more and more invested in the music that we're listening to. Found some really good bands that are still among my favorite bands to this day. One of them is still my favorite band to this day. It's called This Is Not a Game of Who the Fuck Are You. Check them out. Really, really, really would recommend them to anyone that listen to like any type of hard and fast metal, basically. Grind metal, thrash metal, metalcore, death metal, anything. Hear them out. They have basically their own genre that they did call psychocore back then. Really fucking cool guys. The singer's a really nice guy, by the way. Yeah. And then I went into 9th grade. And yeah, I had a few girlfriends back then. One girlfriend at the time, though. I've never cheated on anyone. Would never do it because I respect when I'm in a relationship with anyone. I love them, really fucking love them to bits. So I would never be able to cheat on them, and I don't want anyone to feel the betrayal that I felt when I was cheated on. So yeah, then I got into 9th grade. I'm going to skip girlfriends during this time up until the time when up until the girlfriend before my current one. We've been together for 5 or 6 years now. I've been together longer than my parents have been married, which is really funny. So yeah, and got into 9th grade, and yeah, I was even more weird than makeup and everything all the time. I'd read the contact lenses and things like that. Started coloring my bangs red. I actually liked how it looked back then. Still kind of have the same clothing style and such things. But I was basically all black and red back then. Because that's the color of syndicalism. I actually was going like, yeah! Politics! Syndicalism! Fuck yeah! Yeah, as you all know, red is communism. Black, you might not know, is the color of anarchism. And I'm fucking burping, I'm sorry for that. But way too much way too much carbonated alcoholic drinks. Get burps from that shit. So yeah. Was yeah, and the last half of 9th grade, my parents have basically been fighting in the school and other things about me getting an ADD diagnosis from like 8th grade or something like that, because my mom did even back then work in with social work, and she did see signs of it that she did saw in her clients on me. So at the last half, I finally got my ADD diagnosis, and that was really good for me, because my grades had started to fail more and more after that. They're in 7th grade, where it went like BAM up. All of a sudden they started going down more and more. No one could really figure out why, but it did no fix. I was like and in the subjects that I was interested in, I had the highest grades possible, like the natural sciences, the highest grades, natural sciences. Maths I did not have the highest grades in, because I can't do school math. I can't explain how I think when it comes to math. I know the answer, just like that. It just pops up in my head. Yes, I could probably join Mensa, and you probably know what that is. If you don't know, it's basically a society of really fucking smart people with really high IQ. I could probably join them, but I don't want to, because I don't want to, do those kinds of. I don't want to sit around and basically be like, I'm smart. I might have a high IQ, but I'm not smart for that. Well, you don't need a high IQ for anything. It makes logic puzzles easier for you. But for some odd reason I can't play Tetris, because I suck at it. I just can't wrap my head around it. Yeah. So I got that, and because of that, the teachers had to work with getting my grades higher. They were required, because I got it so late on in my life. And they did it. It was like during the last like 2 months or something that I actually got it. They started shaking me for it like the last half, but it was the last like 1 or 2 months. During like the last 1 or 2 actually, not the last 3, that I actually got the diagnosis. They couldn't change they couldn't make me redo all the tests that I had done during the 9th grade. You really needed those to be able to choose your high school. So they had to, get me higher grades in different subjects. Except for in the natural sciences, and in music they didn't change my grades either. I had the second highest grade, and we had like a 4-grade system basically. But they didn't change it in music. But in woodwork class or something like that, the teacher didn't want to change mine. He said I hadn't done what I was supposed to do, and they were fucking playing hip hop and R&B all the time, because everyone else in class wanted to listen to that shit. I could not concentrate for a fucking second during that, because it was playing so loud that I couldn't use a fucking iPod, which I don't have that one anymore, but I have another one from way back. No, it is way back now. It's like the 1 terabyte one. The one that breaks itself because it had a fucking hard drive that spun too fast and was not shock resistant. No, I have the one after that, actually. And it's not 1 terabyte. But I had the 1 terabyte and it broke itself before I can guarantee was had run out. So I got this one, for the one I have now, for free. Well, it was too big of an hard drive for them to be able to get it, get it shock resistant. But mine still has a hard drive, a real hard drive. You can hear it spin. Really fucking awesome. But yeah, so I got, but my dad was a fucking hero back then. It was like probably one of the last times any of my parents really did anything for me. That teacher, workshop, maybe it is the subject in English. I don't know. The teacher called my dad the day before the last day in 9th grade. The day before me graduating, grade 8, said, "Oh, Love, haven't done what he was supposed to do." So my dad went. My dad worked by. Well, he went to school to become a social worker back then. Right at that time, around that time as well. Before that, he worked in the commute with the commute trains. He was a driver, commute trains. And he was home because he was writing things for school, basically. So he dropped what he was doing. He was writing a thesis. You don't need a master's, but you need a bachelor's degree. He was writing his bachelor's thesis. And you have to write thesis for bachelor's, master's, and doctorates here in Sweden. He dropped it. It's rushed over to school. Fucking ran to school. And threatening with basically suing the guy. Because he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and make consideration for me having a severe case of ADD. And was actually, but the thing was, that guy didn't do as it was supposed to do, because they are here in Sweden. They're basically supposed to give the at least in 9th grade, they're supposed to give the school board the grades you're going to have like 1 month before you graduate. And it changed from me not having passed that class at all to me having the highest grade in that class, because my dad threatened to sue his ass to oblivion, basically. So yeah, I got really high grades in that. Cider. Nice. And yeah. Then I went on to what I would call high school. I already told you that. I went to study media. Loved it. Wasn't bullied. Nothing that interesting except for then, like, the first few months, spring break between summer break between 9th grade and high school. I got myself a girlfriend that was together with for 3 months. This is the one before the one I have now. And yeah, we were together for like 3 months or something like that. Then she dumped me. Then I found out that she cheated on me as well. That's why I was going to bring her up, basically. The only reason. I have had 2 girlfriends that cheated on me. One of them, the one that I just talked about a little bit, she accused me of cheating on her before she dumped me, and that's why she said she dumped me, because I cheated on her. Then I found out by talking to her now ex that she got together with right after me, that they did sleep before she broke up with me. they did sleep together before she broke up with me. Like 2 days before she broke up with me. Hate cheating people because of experiences. So yeah. And then at the in December that year, I got together with my current girlfriend. So, you know, with 6th. So it was like, no, it can't have been 16. Must have been the year I was 17. I can't remember completely. Was it the year I was 16? Fucking hell! So it is 6 years. It is going to be 6 years ago now. Yeah. In December this year, it's going to be 6 years ago. I got together with my current girlfriend. Really love her. Everything's going really well. Yeah, everything went on. And yeah, I did kind of fail high school because of me not getting grades in like 2 subjects or something like that. It was a few points off. And yeah. After that, I have worked a few jobs and other things. And not too important. The next couple of years, those next couple of years, because nothing really interesting happened during second year in high school, third year in high school, and then you're out of high school. Not the year after that either, and not the year after that. Oh yeah, the year after last year, which is the 2 years after high school. Alright, yeah, because you got out of when you're 19. You get out of that last year, which it is last year. I started watching people like Sorgan of a Cad, Dr. Random Cam, Teal Deer, that things, and up until that point, I had still called myself a feminist because I did buy into the stupidity that is what feminists say about feminism is just wanting equality between the sexes. Yay! That's why I called myself a feminist. And I tried to justify myself by calling people like Anita Sarkeesian and other such people Tumblr feminists. As I said, those people are stupid, they're not real feminists. I did use the no true Scotsman fallacy. Hate myself for that. Should never use that fallacy. It's fucking stupid to use it. Should never used it. Yeah, I used those fallacies. But yeah, for a few years then. But then I started watching. First, I started watching Song of a Cat because I was really interested in what they. Well, actually, first I started watching. What is it? Internet Aristocrat, Mr. Medicare now. Fuck you, ice cream van thing. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's basically right outside. I need to take a piss again, so I'll be right back. Keep that in mind. So yeah, I started watching Internet Aristocrat back then. He's not going under that name anymore, he's going out under Mr. Medicare. And, well, I started watching them like 2 years ago. It's a series is called Tumblrisms. Really great stuff. And then it started popping up things like, well, Song of a Cad in my suggestions feed. Because he started talking, because it was during the beginning of Gamergate. I can't remember when it was now, seriously. It was during the beginning of Gamergate. Song of a Cad started popping up. And after a while I watched Song of a Cad. Because I couldn't buy into the feminist propaganda about Gamergate. Especially not after watching the videos by Jim. That is his name. I don't know him at all, but I know that his first name is Jim. In the aristocrat, Mr. Medicare, his first name is Jim. So yeah, and I had seen his Quinspiracy video. He coined that term, and then it became Gamergate. After that, it coined that term, and yeah, I couldn't buy into that propaganda. That's why I started watching. Oh, yeah, Dr. Random Cam and that sort of things. Before that, I had watched like people like some guy 827 and other things, and we talked about Onision. That like the first or maybe second video that I watched of Dr. Random. I think it was the first video that I saw by Dr. Random Cam. Was his response to Onision, and that's when I realized. By watching Dr. Random Cam, I realized that I could not call myself a feminist. Not at all. Anymore. Call myself an egalitarian. And if it wasn't because I'm not an activist at all. Right now, at least. Because I don't feel like, putting in. I just can't justify putting in a lot of time that I would need while I'm still living at home, at my parents' home, still living with my parents and other things, because I don't have time to make videos that many days of the week and such things. I have like basically like every other week I will have 3 days where I can make videos, but I will only have 1 day when my parents are not home and hearing what I'm saying. I know that my mom would flip the fuck out if she heard that I talked badly about feminists. Oh yeah, she has a gender studies degree. She was one of the first people in Sweden that got it. And she still can't buy, even though I've given her all the facts, that Gamergate is not a misogynistic movement. Can't get it. Can't get it why my mom can't buy that shit. Can't buy that we're not shitty people. But yeah, so yeah, started watching like Sargon and Random Cam and sort of things. But yeah, it clicked for me with Dr. Random Cam why I can't call myself a feminist. He was basically the cure for, and actually I started feeling better about myself when I stopped calling myself a feminist. It's really weird, because in feminism, especially in the third and fourth wave, yeah, I did hang out with people when I was in that like youth group for that union. I did hang out with people that were going to become fourth wave feminists. Weren't that back then, but they did become it towards the end of that time. And it was something like was something ingrained about hating men. Actually, it was, and I know that maybe some people would hate me after hearing that. But have you been sitting with me through fucking 1 hour? Maybe more now of video. You can probably understand where I'm coming. I do still come from the fucking left. I've never, stopped being left wing. Not that extremely left wing, but left wing is not about hating people. I'm not racist. I'm not sexist. I'm just against an ideology that is against me. And it's becoming more and more against me for every second. I'm white, male, and cis gendered, as those people would call it. I call myself white and male. That's basically what I call myself when it comes to that. I would never say that I'm cisgender, because cisgender was not a thing up until like a year ago. Yeah, last summer. Yeah, I'm going to round this off really soon. Last summer, I was doxxed because some people at a place where I was sitting and drinking somehow found out who I followed on Twitter, stole my phone, and they doxed me. And last summer, I didn't want to make videos or anything for a while then. Maybe one, two. I think I made one or something like that, like a vlog during last fall or autumn, whatever I should call it. But I'm back. I'm not going to leave again. And I am going to make reaction videos. Well, reaction videos. I don't know what to call it. I'm going to make responses, probably. That's a better way to put it. I guess feminists. Or any. Actually, I'm going to make response videos towards SJWs. Because fuck those people. They're really fucking stupid and horrible people. They should not rule the left at all. We don't need them. We don't need them at all. We need people like Sargon. We need people like Dr. Randomcam. I don't know if he's left or not. We need people like Teal there. We even need people that consider themselves conservatives. We need people like Milo Yiannopoulos. He's fucking amazing. Should check him out as well. But yeah, I should probably stop before I get too drunk. Because I could probably ramble on for hours now. Because I'm getting drunk. Yeah, I will see you all next time. I will try to find something to make a response to during this weekend, because my parents are not home until my little brother wouldn't care, but my parents are not home until and my little brother as well is not home until like Sunday fairly late afternoon, like around 5 o'clock or something. And before that, I might have found something that I can make a response video to, and I will probably get myself drunk during that time as well. But I will probably have been drinking a bit before I start, because else how the fuck would I be able to respond to all of the stupidity that I will have to go through. Hey, thank you all for watching. Hope to see you next time. Yeah, I will be back, and during next week I will be making a walk and talk. I will be making one walk and talk that is basically a cut together of my thoughts on the way to work. Probably not on the way from work, because people will be on our way home by then, because we're starting later on this time around than we did last time. Hey, thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time, and bye!